Hello everyone. So dear students, assalamu alaikum. For this video is mainly based on the science skills, and this is especially for those a summary of for those who have missed out on this chapter for some time, so they were out of the country or due to some reason or the other. So whenever we talk about science, what comes into our mind? The first thing that comes into our mind is that you have to look at things, you have to analyze things, you have to observe things, and you have to gain knowledge about things, and you have to know about things inside and out, and things around you, and so many other things come into mind when you talk about science. So science is actually knowledge obtained by observing and experimentation. Yes, another thing that comes into our mind is science must be dealing with knowledge of something specific or relevant or inside or an object or thing or whatever, and by observing and by experimentation. Experiments and using all these three things together to come to a conclusion about a certain object, a certain entity, a certain animal or plant or whatever we have around us, or even rocks or and other things like that. Okay, so science is simply talking about logic and what conclusion we come to by using that logic systematically. Okay, so science is actually divided into three parts. The three parts of science, or three branches of science, are the chemistry, physics and biology. Okay, so chemistry deals with the substance that make up the physical world around us. It's about the physical world, everything. Talk about being man or animal or plants or rocks or elements and mixtures, whatever is around us, chemistry deals with that. Okay, the chemical part, it deals with the what are the reactions that occurs between compounds, physical properties and everything, characteristics. It all depends on chemistry. The physics part, biology part, depends on the study of living things around us. That is the easiest part. Whenever the word biology comes into our mind, we know that it is got to do with living things. So whatever the living things are, whatever their constituents, or what are the reactions that goes around them occurs, it's all about biology. Then we come to the study of physics, which is also the study of physical world. What is the weather like? How big is the earth? How big is the universe? How are the things interacting with each other? What is gravity? What are the things holding these planets together? The gravitational force, the centrifugal force, the centripetal force, all these forces and their applications in our daily life, it all deals with physics. So you should know the difference between the three, at least, if not nothing but the definitions are most important. Okay, that being said, now you have overcome what is science. Okay, so from this onward, you know that science is divided into three parts: physics, chemistry, biology, and each one is showing its own different field. the next thing that we are going to learn about are the laboratory safety rules. Now these things are not like new to you. You have already been studying about the laboratory rules in the since grade 2, right? So these are nothing new. You shouldn't be touching each other, you shouldn't be eating in the laboratory, you shouldn't be opening the windows in the laboratory, because the air might come in and the gush of the air would topple over some experimental things or apparatuses. And you shouldn't leave your hair open, because we are working with burners and chemicals which might, and the hair might go in if your hair are long, and it can cause a lot of damage, or it can burn your hair for one thing, which can be extremely dangerous. And sometimes what happens, if you have got large windows in your laboratory and you open them, we do open them when you are working with some chemicals that produce dangerous gases, but normally during the laboratory we don't open them. But opening them can cause one more danger, and that danger could be that some animals or birds can come inside and topple over your apparatuses. Another thing that you should not do is run around in the laboratory, because we have got extremely dangerous apparatuses over there. Some of the gadgets are very sensitive to touch, and the weighing balances can weight that can be affected by even the gust of wind that comes into our room. So we have got to be careful not to touch or run around, so that our data might be the data or the information that you are getting from the gadgets would be affected by the moving of the wind. Okay, then these are the safety rules, laboratory safety rules. In this, I remember giving everyone homework was given, that you have got to look at page 4, and look at those two pictures and explain what are the safety rules not being homework was given, and what safety rules should be taken. There was one yes, let's go back to our studies. I will come to that later. Taking measurements, observing, you have got to be accurate. Sometimes what happens, this is one of the diagram that I was explaining to the rest of the students, that sometimes what happens, रीडर लेकर आती हूँ एक। As you can see, this water bottle, you can see it very clearly that I have got an empty bottle right now. Let us see when we fill it up with water 150 ml, what happens. Now look at this bottle. If your eyes are just like my camera is, my camera eyes are like above, it's going down over here. Can you see that? So my reading is not coming accurate. It is more than 150 ml. If you note, now I have filled it up to the nearly exact point. It is still more. I'll have to reduce it. Okay, so now it is, if I'm looking from the top, see, I can see that the volume of the water is less. If your eyes are placed at the top, you see the water level has risen. If your eye level is below, then that is going to affect also the reading. If, for example, look over here, let us see like this. If your eye level is below the water level 150 mark, like this, then the water will appear to be a little bit high. If you look at the water level exactly from where the level of the water liquid actually is, if you look at like this, your eyes are level with the water level, that is the accurate reading. This is known as accurate reading. Okay, otherwise you have parallax error. When you are looking from the top, the water liquid appears to be a little bit higher. When you are looking from below, that appears to come down. So if your eye level is not with the level of the liquid that is inside this, then that is going to be known as the parallax error. That is going to give you an error in your reading, and your reading is not going to be accurate. Can you see that my level of camera is high and the level of liquid appears to be higher than 150 ml? So that is wrong way of reading. Your level should be your eye level should be in line with the level of the liquid that is in the measuring cylinder. Okay, so our eyes, if are not very good at measuring, we can say what is the distance from one point to another point. So what do you use your ruler, because you do not know exactly what the length is going to be, because we cannot, our senses do sense a long direction or a long distance, but we cannot make a precise value. We cannot give a precise number as to the distance of one place to another, or the amount of liquid from one point to another. So for that we use gadgets. What kind of gadgets do we use? Or instruments that we use the kind of instruments which are known as measuring cylinder, or ruler, a scale, a D, for accurate measurements. Okay, because we cannot rely on our senses to make a correct value evaluation. Okay, so for that we use a ruler from a distance, because you don't know in the old days they used to say as fast as the crows fly, because nowadays if you move from a distance of from here to here, it will take you longer distance, but a crow will always fly in a diagonal distance, which is a shorter distance. So how do we find out which one is the longer distance and which one is the shorter distance? We do that by using ruler and measuring objects, or measure tape measures, isn't it? So that is for finding out the Okay, now finding out the volume of an object is very easy. You know, if you have a box like this, for example, I've got this Panadol box. You might be having some kind of box. You can easily find out the length, the height, and the breadth of the box, and you multiply the length with the height with the breadth of the box, and you will find out the volume of this box, how much capacity it has, how many things can fit inside this box. You can find that volume by multiplying its height, length and breadth. Okay, so the volume of a regular object means an object which has a specific length, breadth and height. You can easily find that out by this formula: volume is equal to length multiplied by breadth multiplied by height. So the length is going to be in centimeters, and the breadth is going to be in centimeters, and the height is going to be in centimeters. So how many centimeters have we got? We have got 3 centimeters. That is exactly why we use the unit of volume as centimeter cube. Okay, so that is why we use the unit of centimeter cube for volume, or sometimes we use ml, milliliter, or you'll use the word meter cube. When you are using centimeter cube, the unit can be also known as milliliter. When you are using meter cube, then your unit can also become liters. तो लीटर, 1 लीटर वाटर बॉटल मतलब उसके अंदर कितने सेंटीमीटर क्यूब होंगे? 1000 सेंटीमीटर क्यूब होंगे. 1000 सेंटीमीटर क्यूब makes up 1 liter. ओके, सो 1000 सेंटीमीटर क्यूब जो होते हैं वो 1 लीटर के बराबर या 1 मीटर क्यूब के बराबर होते हैं. 1 मीटर क्यूब इज़ द सेम थिंग एज 1000 सेंटीमीटर क्यूब. सो दिस इज़ ईजी टू नो, बट वी गेट ए वेरी बिग डिफ़िकल्टी when we are going to be finding out the volume of a irregular object. Now what can be the irregular object? For example, let me take this rubber. Now this, if you look at this rubber, it does not have it's this side is cut off, this one is too much used, so this length is longer than this length, and the breadth we cannot find out because it is kind of curved over here, and it's been bitten off by here. Some child might have chewed on it or something like that, and whatever, something went wrong with this rubber and does not contain the shape of a cylinder, shape of a cuboid that it was in the starting. So how do you find out the volume of this object? You can easily do that. What can you do? You fill again this water bottle with approximately 150 centimeter cube of water. As soon as you drop this into as soon as you drop this into the bottle, what will happen? The volume of the liquid will rise, and you have to note how much volume of the liquid has risen, and then you subtract the before volume from the new volume, and you will get the volume of this rubber, which is an irregular object. You can also find out the volume of a piece of rock or a piece of any irregular object like this empty thing. It doesn't have any shape. You can find out the volume by submerging it in water and easily find out the volume of this. Okay, so you have now known how to find out the length. You now know how to find out the volume of liquid. You now know how to find out the volume of irregular and regular objects. 4 things done. Okay, now we come to the next part, and that is how do you use to find out temperature. Okay, we talk about length and volume and temperature and mass and all these. Where did these gadgets come from? हमने क्यों बनाए और कहाँ से आए ये gadgets? हमें पहले से पता थे क्या हुआ क्या नहीं हुआ? We don't know actually. the actual thing was that scientists were at that time, we didn't used to have scientists in the old days. We used to have philosophers who used to think and decide what to do. तो उन्होंने कहा कि भाई हमारी आँखें इतनी परफेक्ट नहीं हैं, वी डोंट हैव एन वेरी गुड परफेक्ट आइज टू नोट द डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ सब्सटेंस हैविंग 100 ml or 100 and 125 ml. There is a little difference, only that we cannot be sure if this glass is without gadget, so without any graduation mark. So how will we know कि इसका भरना उतने ही amount में उतना ही amount देगा? How do you know that each one of them are filled up to the same level, or they both contain the same amount of liquid? So they decided to use certain measurement or make a new kind of measurement gadgets, and these measurement gadgets were the volumetric flask, where you find out the volume of a substance, or density bottle, where you find out the volume of a liquid, or a measuring a ruler. That there is a platinum iridium rod in the Museum of Britain, which is actually 1 meter long. It is not affected by heat or temperature, cooling. Everything metals, they expand and contract. So every ruler in this whole world is first measured with that ruler, which is in the museum, and then it is specified and sent to the rest of the countries for using it as a measure rule. Okay, so in the same way, there is a block which is used as a volume block, and all the masses have been used for that matter. We know that for mass we use kilogram or gram. These are the unit. What do we use for measuring the mass or weight of a object? We use measuring cylinder. No, we use weighing balance, we use spring balance. So here is a spring balance which is common to everyone's house, I hope. If not, then you can always ask your stationery shop person to show you a weighing balance or a spring balance. This is a spring balance. If you look carefully inside over here, inside this hole, there is a spring. Can you see that spring? Can you see that spring? Now it is focused. It is going up and down. If I pull it down, it is extending. Can you see that? That is the spring this works on. And this is the line. This is the marking, or you can see, like, for example, sideways. It is protruding out. Can you see this? This is the marker. When it is pulled down, you can easily read the readings. The readings had kind of rubbed off. So what I did was, I just used a paint or color to and then rubbed it off, so that the lines were more visible. That's all. Okay. So this is a spring balance. You can find out the mass or the volume of any mass or the weight of any object using this spring balance. It will simply pull down, and you can easily measure what mass that object has or weight that object has. Okay. For the measurement of temperature, you can easily use a thermometer. Nowadays there are digital thermometers, but the actual clinical or accurate thermometers are the ones which are known as the clinical thermometer. We have laboratory thermometers. There is a difference between clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer, but both depend on one thing: the expansion of the liquid inside the bulb of the thermometer. Now if you look at the thermometer over here, this is the one which we use in our daily lives. Look at this thermometer. This is the most common thermometer which is available to most of our homes. It contains a bulb and a capillary tube that runs, and when you put it inside your mouth like this, under your tongue, what will happen? The liquid inside, or the metal, the mercury is the only liquid metal which is liquid in condition, so it is filled up in this mercury expands. When it expands, it leaves, it enters this thin tiny tube inside, and you can easily measure the temperature that you have, whether you have a temperature or not. Okay, in the same way, then we come to the work of time. Time can be measured with digital clock, stopwatches, and normal wall clocks, and all these are available at home also, and most probably at your school also, and these are standard units. Nowadays your mobile even contains watches, stopwatches, right? So these are important. All the units are important, and the different measurement instruments are important. For what reason they are used. Now look at this. Test yourself. You will have to do it in your registers and submit it. The question is, why do scientists use measuring instruments? Because we want to measure those things which our human eyes cannot distinguish between. Two lengths which we are not sure might be equal, appearing to be equal, they are actually not equal, and then for that matter you need to use some instrument to easily measure that. The second is, write units. Which units are used to measure volume? Units I've told you about. I don't know what this is written. No, this is centimeter cube, millimeter cube, meter cube, or liter or milliliter, and so on. So centiliter, there is centiliter also. Okay, and length is measured in meters, millimeters, kilometers, miles, and so on. Mass is measured in milligrams, grams, and kilograms, and so on, tons, and whatever. Okay, so the next is time. Time is measured in seconds, minutes, and hours, while temperature is measured in degrees, Fahrenheit, and Kelvin. We know that degrees and Fahrenheit are the most common ones which we use in our daily life. Kelvin is used for measuring extreme high temperatures, extremely low temperature, like in the fridge or in a hot oven. They can be used. Kelvin temperature units are used. Okay, not only that, you must remember that the SI unit means standard unit of measurement. Instrument unit of measurement is kilogram, and seconds for time, and kilogram for mass. Okay, so these snippets are also important. You must keep them in mind. Now the next question was, which measuring instrument would you use to measure the mass of a bag of flour? What do you use for mass of bag flour? Obviously spring balance or a weighing double pan balance. Okay, the length of a piece of cloth, what do you use? एक कोई आपकी, if your mom has ever taken you to a clothes shop to buy a piece of cloth for making, you know that the person over there uses a long ruler, 1 meter rule, or a yards rule, or tape measure for that matter, and they use that. Okay, the volume of a stone, I've told you, you can use measuring cylinder which is present in your lab, or your brothers or sisters feeding bottle for that matter. Number D, the temperature of a cup of tea, you can use thermometer. The time taken to run a race is a stopwatch. Make a list of 4 measuring instrument in your home. Okay, you can see what are the things that are present in your home that can be used for measuring. Like for example, Now the next thing is super important, because it will deal with the conversion units, and conversion units are the ones which are most difficult for the students at your stage to fathom. Okay, so or determine. Like for example, I can say you can find out the weight or the mass of a bottle full of rice, isn't it? Bottle full of rice will have some mass, but what if I say find out the mass of 1 grain of rice? Now that is really super difficult, isn't it? It is very difficult, because the amount is so less. If I use a weighing balance or anything, it is not accurate enough to find out that mass. So what do? We find out the weight. Let me show you. Like this bottle contains kalonji. I hope you know what kalonji is. Let me show you. Black seeds, we call them black seeds also. These are black seeds. They are present everywhere in your homes also. It is added as a spice in making potato chips or something, potato vegetable when you are making them. So these are very important for our as our diet, because our Huzur Sallam said that it carries the cure for hundreds and 70, at least 70 diseases that we come across. So it is good that we take them 7 grains every early morning. So if I want you to take the mass of this whole bottle of black seeds, it's easy. But what if I say find out the mass of only 1 seed? Just 1 seed. How can you find out the mass of such a tiny little seed? How can you find out the mass of such a tiny little seed? How can you do that? You cannot do that. It's not easy to find out the mass of such a small thing. So what we do is we take an empty bottle and find out the mass of the empty bottle, and we write it down. What do we see? We write down mass of empty bottle. I will just write down B. For example, the mass is approximately 50 gram. Okay, 50 gram. Let us take 150 gram. Okay, then when you added the black seed to it, what was the mass? Now mass of bottle, I've used the word B for the bottle. Okay, so mass of bottle plus black seed BS. Let us say the total mass is 250 gram. Okay, total mass is this. So you can easily find out the mass of black seed will be equal to 250 minus 150, because if you remove the mass of the bottle from the mass of the total mass of the black seed plus bottle, you will cancel out the bottle mass and you will be left with the total mass of black seed. Now when you subtract that, you get 100 gram is the mass of the black seed. Now how many black seed do you have over there? Well, for example, I haven't counted that, so we can say that 500 grains of black seed is equal to 100 gram, was having a mass of 100 gram. So 1 grain of black seed will be containing how much? What will be the mass of that? You don't know. You just write down X gram. So you know the mass of 500 grain of black seed, it was 100 Okay, so now what you are going to do is you have got the 500 gram 500 grains of black seed has a mass of 100 gram. So 1 grain of black seed will contain how many gram? You are going to use this method. Please follow this method for any and every conversion unit. Okay, any and every conversion unit. What you are going to do? You are going to write down 500 as it is. 500 upon 1 is equal to 100 upon x. Okay, so you are going to now cross multiply. This will be multiplied with the denominator of one side will be multiplied with the numerator of the other side, like this, and numerator of the other first side will be multiplied with the denominator of the other side. So you are left with 500 multiplied by x is equal to 1 multiplied by 100. So you are left with 500x is equal to 1 multiplied by 100 will give you 100. Now what you are going to do is how to remove. You have got to find out the value of x, so you have got to remove the 500. You can easily remove the 500 by dividing it with 500. अगर आपने इस साइड को 500 से डिवाइड किया तो 500 नीचे और 500 ऊपर cancel out हो जाएंगे. But whatever you are doing to one side of the equation, you have got to do it to the other side of the equation. That means you have to divide it also by 500. Simple. The rule is simple. Whatever you do to one side, you have got to do it to the other side also. If you are dividing by 500 here, you have got to divide it by 500 over here also. Therefore, this 500 and this 500 is cancelled out. You get x, and here you will cancel out the zeros. The zeros are cancelled out. You are going to get 1 upon 5. 1 upon 5 when you divide it over here, what do you get? I hope you know your decimal points. 5 decimal point 0 5 to the 10, and your answer you get is 0.2 grams. Okay, that is your answer. You started with what is the mass of 1 grain of black seed. So now you write down the statement. Mass of 1 grain of black seed is equal to 0.2 gram. That's how you are going to answer every question that comes after this 3 examples. That is, I have told you about this one many times. Even in the class I have told you how you can measure the volume of irregular object. Right now अभी मैंने फीडिंग बॉटल के ज़रिए एंड रबर के ज़रिए बता दिया आपको कि आप कैसे मालूम कर सकते हैं एक इरेगुलर ऑब्जेक्ट का वॉल्यूम. इन द सेम वे यू कैन फाइंड आउट हाउ मेनी टाइम्स डिड द pendulum. You take a necklace of your mother. Okay, so you can use this as a pendulum. I have got this chain and a pendant over here. You can use it as a pendulum. Just make it move like this. How many times does it move in a minute or in a second? You cannot. ये तो measure कर सकते हैं कि ये 10 दफ़ा कितनी बार swing किया, मगर ये क्या can you measure how the time for one swing? No, that is difficult. Now for example, if I say find out the time, the minute I start swinging the pendant, you start your stopwatch, okay, and find out how many times it swings in 1 minute. You time yourself, okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. How much time did it take? Oh shoot. So what you can do is you can simply take hold of the pendant like this. Wait. एंड यू कैन स्टार्ट टाइमिंग इट कि एक 10 स्विंग्स में कितना टाइम लगता है. द मिनट आई लीव इट यू स्टार्ट काउंटिंग. काउंटिंग कैसे करते हैं? हाउ डू यू काउंट ए पेंडुलम स्विंग? वन स्विंग इज़ नोटेड बाय इट गोइंग दिस वे एंड दैट वे. तो एक स्विंग के मतलब है जाकर वापस आना. That is one swing. Okay, so let us count how much time. From your mobile you can use the stopwatch and you can find out how much time does it take for 10 swings for this pendant to swing. Okay, so starting now. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. How much time did it take for this number of swings and of 10 swings? So you know now the time. Now find out how much time will one swing take. Okay, so that you will use the same method that I've taught you before over here. This is the method that you are going to be using. You can take a picture of this or stop it at this moment. To do this, you are going to write down 10 swings, time was this much. One swing, how much time will be taken, and you can find out that X number of time for a single swing in this same way. So here we come to the next test yourselves, and this is what is the average mass of one nail if 50 nails have a mass of 200 gram. You understand that you have got to 200 grams. 50 nails का कितना मास है? 200 grams. So one nail का कितना मास होगा? Find that out. The same way, the same rule is going to be applied. Cork का क्या है? अच्छा, ये थोड़ा सा डिफ़िकल्ट है. आई विल एक्सप्लेन इट टू यू इन अ मिनट, बट दिस वन इज़ ईजी. कि अगर 200 टाइम्स एक सेकंड में 250 टाइम्स बी जो है अपने विंग्स बीट करती है. तो एक विंग बीट करने में कितना टाइम लगता है? माइक्रो सेकेंड्स लगेंगे. एंड दैट टाइम इज़ द सेम. यू आर गोइंग टू यूज़ दिस सेम मेथड ऑफ यूनिटरी मेथड ऑफ क्रॉस मल्टीप्लिकेशन. ओके, सेम मेथड, बट हियर this is a little bit difficult because they have changed it to a cork. Cork does not sink in the water. So what do we do if you are having a glass of water? You find out the amount of water in the glass, and then you put the rubber inside the glass and you find out the volume after subtracting. That was easy for you. But what about finding out the mass of the volume of an object which does not sink? For example, if you have a piece of wood, a piece of wood will not sink. Some types of plastic does not sink. Sometimes the cap of a bottle, Coca-Cola bottle, does not sink. So what do you do about these kind of materials which do not sink in the water? So how the water level cannot rise because they are floating on the top of the water. So what you are going to do is you are going to, for example, if you are finding out the, wait a minute, finding out the volume of this cap will not sink in the water. What will you do is you will attach to it anything. अब आपके पास वॉल्यूम इसका पता चल गया, आपने रबर का वॉल्यूम निकाल लिया था पहले, या आप निकाल लें फिर से अपने किसी भी ब्लेंडर के जग में डालकर और उसका वॉल्यूम निकाल लें, या कोई किसी चीज़ का भी वॉल्यूम निकाल लीजिए. फिर इसके साथ वो चीज़ को अटैच कर दीजिए जिसका जो डूबता नहीं है, जैसे कि आपका कैप हो गया या कोल्ड ड्रिंक का कैप हो गया. नाउ फिल दिस वाटर ग्लास टू ए सर्टेन लेवल दैट यू नो द मेजरिंग, वहाँ पर मार्क लगा दीजिए. एंड यू पुट बोथ ऑफ देम. यू ऑलरेडी नो द वॉल्यूम ऑफ दिस, so you can subtract it the total volume will be from the total volume you will subtract. You can subtract. What you will do is you can subtract the volume of from the total volume of the rubber and the cap. What you can do is you can subtract the volume of water also and the volume of the rubber also, and you will be left with the volume of the floating object, which can easily be found. I hope you understand. You can do that at home, try it a few times, and maybe you will end up with a correct result. So that is how you are going to do these 3 questions. Okay, now we come to the next part, which is known as the handling of data. Okay, let us see what we can do. Then what you are going to do is you are going to put down these values. These values start from 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 to 21. So number of hand spans is ranging from 12 to 22. So make this 0. If this is 0, 10, 20, no, I think it is reaching 22. So we will start from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28 एंड 2 का डिफरेंस से रख दीजिए. 2, 4, 6, 8 से जाइए. हर बार में 2 ऐड करते जाइए और लगाते जाइए वैल्यूज़. ओके, ओवर हियर द हैंड स्पैन विल कम. ओवर हियर द नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स आर रेंजिंग फ्रॉम 0 to 9. 0 to 9. So 0 is already there. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we take 1, 2, 2, each 2 is making up the 1. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, you have measured this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You have reached here. 8, 9. I haven't got a space over here. When you will be doing it with the pencil, I guess you will have more space. Okay, no, this one is going to be 9. This one is going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. But I think we have reached only up to 22, the maximum value. So we will stop there. We will not put any more values other than that. Present this data in the form of a bar chart. What is the smallest? Okay, now what you are going to do is you are going to put down the values. 12 per 0 student the. Number of student is 0 at 12. 12 hand span किसी का भी नहीं था. So you keep your graph like this. It is easier to make it like this. Okay, so keep your graph like this. Okay, and then do it. Okay, so at 0 कोई भी नहीं था, and at you have got at 13 hand span was one student had 13 hand span. So 14 is over here. 13 will be between 12 and 14, and that is one student. So you will draw a half line over here, half from here and half from here, and you join this. 13 पर आपने इस तरीके से एक बार बना ली. ठीक है, 1 हैंड स्पैन ये था, तो 13 पर आपने ये बार बनाई. एंड देन यू हैव गॉट 14 पर 2 स्टूडेंट्स थे. 14 की वैल्यू पर 2 स्टूडेंट्स थे. नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स आर 2. सो 14 पर 2 आधा किया. And then you have got 15 per 3. Now do it all by yourself and then answer the question and submit. Okay, in the same way we are going to do the workbook, and let's see what we can do about the workbook. If you do not understand any question, you may ask and submit your work on the WhatsApp group, and as pictures I'll check it and we will see what will happen after that. Okay, have a good day. Like the video if you understood everything, and share. Okay, so this is the graph that came up and they listed down and all the values and found out. So according to this graph, the tallest students were in the 164 was the tallest student, the height of the tallest student. And how many students were there? Only one student was there whose height was, because you can take it all, no, only one, see, only one student has a height of who was the tallest. And maximum height, how many students have the maximum same average height? Same average height were 4 students. And what was their height? 160 centimeters. Okay, 1 meter and 60 centimeter height thi maximum. How many students were there? You can tally it from here. 4 students were there who had the maximum height, who had the average height of 160. And groups of two students had 154 height, 2 students had 155 height, and 2 students had 156 height. You can easily see from the graph. Now we are going to do the question and answers at the end of these. What are the questions? Let us see what is data. Data is scientific information that you get, is known as data. Look at the table. What is the highest temperature? The highest temperature that is reached is in the morning time. And what is that? That is 18 degrees Celsius, I guess. Yes, 18 degrees Celsius. Okay, so when was the temperature lowest? It was at the night time, and the temperature was -1 degree Celsius. Can you see that? I hope you can find that out by yourself. The third one, I leave it to you. Describe the relationship between the amount of cloud and the nighttime temperature. The amount of cloud at night time were more than the amount of cloud in the daytime, because at night time we have less sun to evaporate the water molecules or water vapors from the atmosphere, and at night time therefore the clouds are mainly formed. Okay, I hope that answers the question. What advantage does a line graph have over a bar graph? Now you better be careful about answering this question, because the advantage over line graph is that it gives you value between 2 points. For example, if the temperature is 0, if the time, for example, it is at 11 a.m. they have found the time, day 1 में पहले दिन जो था 11 बजे ये टेम्परेचर था, दूसरे दिन 11 बजे ये टेम्परेचर था, तीसरे दिन 11 बजे ये टेम्परेचर था, एंड सो ऑन. मगर व्हाट अबाउट टेम्परेचर जस्ट a few minutes before or after 11, or what about temperature between these? You cannot find that out, isn't it? So how do you look for temperatures which are between these temperatures, which fall between? For example, 16 से 17 पहुंचने में कुछ तो टाइम लगा होगा ना. ऑब्वियसली 11 o'clock से लिया है इन्होंने टेम्परेचर, या 11 के एग्जैक्ट टाइम तो नहीं हो सकता ना. you'd never know at exact time what was the cloud ratio. 11 o'clock से 11 o'clock 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 एट नाइट एंड एट डे। तो डे में तो आपने क्या चीज़ सही नहीं है, डे में आपका सूरज निकला हुआ होता है और रात में जो है no sun, so it's going to affect the cloud ratio. But what about the individual ratios between? In the same way 150 की तो हाइट आपने लिख ली है, मगर 151.5 की अगर हाइट होगी, 152 और 151 के बीच की हाइट होगी, तो वो तो यहाँ पर लिस्टेड नहीं है, बीच में वो आसानी हो जाती है. दैट इज़ ईजियर to determine in a line graph. Let us see how this is going to happen in the next part, but let us finish the questions first of all. Look at the bar graph. Okay, look at the bar graph. What is the smallest height? According to our bar graph, the smallest height of a student is 151, isn't it? And then B, what is the most common height? सबसे ज़्यादा बच्चों की एक जितनी हाइट किस बच्चों की है? 4 बच्चों की एक जैसी हाइट है, and that is 160. How many students are there? Number of students is given over here. So how many students have the height of 160? 4 students. Okay, so we can say the most common height is 160 centimeters. The common height is 160 centimeters. The last question, how many students have a height of 160 centimeter or more? 160 centimeter या उससे ज़्यादा की हाइट कितने बच्चों की है? 4 बच्चों की 160 है, फिर then 162 2 students, and then 1 student has a height of 164. So total is how many? 4 plus 2 6 plus 1 7. 7 students have more than 160 height and 4 students have 160 height. Okay, so that answers all the questions on this page. Let us go and check out our line graph. Now look at this line graph and let's see what happens in here. Now line graph is saying a line graph is a useful because it is also shows result as a picture and also in between. You can also use it to read off values which are not measured. That is the main important advantage of a line graph. You can read values which are not even measured, which are not even found. So put it in bracket and you can use it in answering that question on the previous page. Thus graph shows how the temperature of a cup of tea changes over 10 minutes. So what you do is you got your cup of tea, okay, and you put the thermometer inside that tea and you start noting the minute you bought out the tea. Obviously in the beginning the tea temperature is going to be really high and then it is going to decrease as the and come down to the temperature of the room. It will not change after the temperature of the room because either the room temperature has got to be lower than the temperature of the of the tea, or it has got to be in the fridge that the temperature of the room is going to be lower than the normal room temperature, and therefore you will have to keep the cup inside the fridge. Okay, I hope you understand that much. So what you are going to do is, okay, so they let us see what did they do. They plotted temperature of tea on this x-axis. If you remember, I've told you that the vertical column is known as the x-axis and the horizontal column is known as the y-axis, and on the x-axis they have put down the temperature of the tea starting from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. The temperature of the tea is listed over here, and the time, how much time it takes for the tea to cool down is listed over here. time 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute and 5 minute and so on. So if you look at this time, they at 0, when you bought out the tea at 0 time, the minute you took the tea was out of the out in the cup, you noted its temperature, it was 60 degrees Celsius. Can you see that? It was 60 degrees Celsius. Then after a minute they found out the temperature. What was the temperature? You tally it by touching it on the other side and you find out that it is 40 degrees Celsius. Now you can find out, अगर 1 मिनट में चाय का टेम्परेचर इतना नीचे गया था और 60 से 40 डिग्रीज पर चला गया था, तो आधे मिनट में क्या होगा? ऑब्वियसली इफ़ 5 boxes, so if you want to find out the temperature for half a minute, you can say that the centered line, this center point is going to be 0.5 minute, मतलब आधे मिनट के बराबर 30 seconds में क्या टेम्परेचर हुआ होगा? You just put a dotted line over here. What you do is you put a dotted line in the center, leave one dot and then keep on going, leave one dot, keep on going, leave one dot, keep on going, and you keep on doing that. Do it. I'm not doing it all the way correctly, but you should do it in your book so that you can see that you reached here. Now you reached here. What was the temperature at half the minute? You can easily tally it on this side. It was 40 है, ये 42 हुआ, 44 हुआ, 46 हुआ, 48 हुआ और ये 50 हुआ. 2 डिफरेंस का है. तो आधा जो होगा, आधा बॉक्स जो होगा वो 1 का होगा. तो ये आधा जो बॉक्स हुआ ये 41 हुआ और ये जो हुआ 42 हुआ. इस तरीके से ये आधा जो हुआ 43 हुआ और ये जो हुआ 44 हुआ. इस तरीके से जाएंगे तो ये हुआ 44, 46 का और आधा 46 आधा हो गया 47 डिग्री सेल्सियस होगा जब 30 seconds गुजरेंगे. 46 degree Celsius. Okay, only in 30 seconds. So what have you found this what is the trick in this? What is the important point in this is you can find out values you did not measure because the line of the graph is showing you the values. It can show you the values which are intermediate between the points. You have only found out the values of after each minute, but you can also find out the values which are half the minute, because in this way you can easily see that the temperature can be shown by the line graph you have drawn by joining all the line that you have points you have got. So at 2 minutes they found out that the temperature was 30 degrees Celsius. At 3 minutes they found out that the temperature was kind of 25 degrees Celsius, and then at 4 minutes it was 21 degrees Celsius, and at 5 minutes it was 20, and at 6 minutes it was 20 also. At 7 minutes it was 20. That means now all these temperatures which are same, that means now the tea has cooled down to the same temperature as the room temperature. क्योंकि रूम का टेम्परेचर लोअर नहीं है 20 से, तो जितना कप में लिक्विड है वो भी जो रूम का टेम्परेचर है वहाँ तक ही पहुँचेगा, उससे नीचे नहीं जा सकता, क्योंकि रूम का टेम्परेचर भी, सराउंडिंग का टेम्परेचर भी 20 है. I hope you understand this much. So after joining this, you can get the intermediate values also, the hidden values also, which you have not looked for or you have not plotted in the bar graph, which cannot be done in the bar graph, but in the line graph it is possible. Okay, so This line graph is very, very important, and you can also have a pie graph. Okay, in pie graph is the most roughly made graph, you can say, because it gives only a fraction percentage of values. For example, how many students like autumn, how many students like spring, how many students like winter, and how many students like summer. So you find out that 50% of the students like summer, and only 9% of the students like autumn, and only 16% of the students like spring, and very little number, the least number percentage is autumn. Students don't like autumn. The majority of the students like winter. The most is 50%. Okay, so okay, at the end of this we are going to just see the highest air temperature ever recorded on earth was 56.7 degrees Celsius at Death Valley, USA on 10th of July 1913. That was the highest temperature, 56.7 degrees Celsius. I guess we will all die if we were in the Death Valley. I think it is correctly named as the Death Valley. Okay, I've heard that there are a lot of cyclones in the Death Valley, or sandstorms, and majority of the sandstorms or the tornadoes are experienced at the Death Valley. It is a dangerous place to be. I don't think, rarely, I've never heard of anybody living there. Okay, test your understanding. Look at the graph above. What was the temperature of the tea at the start? You find that out, 60 degrees Celsius. That was, I think we found out how long. Now your temperature is not asked, what was the time is asked. How long did it take for the temperature of the tea to fall from 30 to 30 degrees Celsius? कितनी देर लगी चाय को 30 डिग्री सेल्सियस तक पहुंचने के लिए? 30 डिग्री सेल्सियस पर कितना टाइम था? 2 minutes. So it took 32 minutes for the tea to cool down to 30 degrees Celsius. What was the temperature of the room when the experiment was carried out? It was obviously room temperature. हमारा क्या था? At the you can find out from the straight lines. The straight dots tell you that the temperature is constant, or the temperature is that of the room temperature. It is the same as the room temperature. So you, from these values, you know that the temperature was 20 degrees Celsius. So the temperature, what was the room temperature? It was 20 degrees Celsius. Look at the pie chart. Which is the most popular season of the year for this group of students? Summer. Summer was the most popular season. What portion of the students chose spring as their favorite season? 16% of the students chose spring as their favorite season, and this data came from 40 students. How many students chose winter as their favorite season? If now this is the same thing that you are going to do unitary method, what they are saying that this data was for 40 students. 40 students chose how much winter? Percentage was? Winter is 25%. So what you are going to do is 20 out of 40, 25% of the students. So out of 40 students, 25 of the 40% of the students chose winter as their favorite season. So what about if that means that 25% means out of 100. That means out of, if the students were number of students was 100, 25 students loved winter. If the number of students is 40, how many will love you will again put down the x value, use that same unitary method of cross multiplication and find out the value of x and find out how many students out of 40 students loved winter as their season. This is your work, you've got to do this yourself. Okay, so the last question is done. Okay, that done, we go to the next page, and that is doing a scientific investigation. Now in scientific investigation, remember that whenever we are about to carry out any experiment, we find out a kind of estimate or guessing value what will happen. Like for example, if I say I'm going to be mixing up honey with water, what are the results that will happen? That the amount of sugar or sweetness of the liquid is going to decrease. That is, so I can say that the sweetness of the honey is going to decrease. So the sweetness of the honey is going to reduce. Or what if I say that after adding how many of you think when we are making cookies, how many of you know that we are adding in the cookie mixture, we have flour, we have chocolate chip, and we have got some other things, and we have got oil, and we have got sugar also. And most of the time, if you are used to of looking at it in the deeper level, you know that most of the time they add a pinch of salt. Whenever you are making something sweet and you add a pinch of salt to it, it kind of adds to the taste of the whatever dish you are preparing. So the sweet dish, especially sweet dish, it happens with the sweet dish. Okay, so therefore you can say that adding a pinch of salt increases the taste of the sweet dish that you are making. In the same way that obviously the kind of coloring matter that is kept in your fridge or in your larder, when you are adding the vanilla essence or you are adding the food color, you don't add the whole bottle, do you? So the amount of liquid that is to be added is also given in the on the bottle, or sometimes you can deduce it or add a little or a little bit more to adjust the color of the substance that you want to get. So this, what will happen when you add 2 drops, what will happen when you add 1 drop, this is known as what when you are guessing what will happen is known as hypothesis. What is it called? It is known as hypothesis. जब आप सोच कर ये कहते हैं कि अगर मैं कोई एक्सपेरिमेंट करूँगा या करूँगी तो एंड रिजल्ट क्या हो सकता है, ये जो गेस वर्क करते हैं, दिस इज़ नोन एज हाइपोथेसिस. You know that in the old days people used to think that the earth was flat. Later on they found out it was not so. So this is a hypothesis, a guesswork of what might happen. For example, if you take a glass of water and you add 1 tablespoonful of sugar, what will happen? And if you add 10 tablespoons of sugar, what will happen? These changing out the amount of sugar in a glass of water is known as variables, that you are changing things. Another thing you can do is either you change the amount of sugar you are adding to the water, or what you can do is you can add more water to the same amount of sugar. But remember, the test will be the best in which only one thing is changing and the other thing is not changing. When the other thing is not changing, we call it a constant. What do we call it? We call it a constant. Don't change all the variables when you are doing an experiment. You have to change only one variable so that you can find out the true fair test. Like for example, as I've told you, you can have two tests. In one test you have taken the same amount of water and you add 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 amount of sugars and see what happens. Then you take different amount of same amount of sugar and change the amount of water, 1 glass of water or 100 ml, 200 ml, 300 ml, and so on so forth. This is changing the variable and this gives you a fair test. What is it known as? A fair test in which only one of the variable is changed. Then the third thing that another variable you can add is what was the temperature of the water. Hotter the water is, the more sugar it is going to be able to dissolve, right? So you can change the amount of water, you can change the amount of sugar, or you can change the temperature of the water, or you can stir one of the mixture or not. It all depends, giving you a different, these are the different variables which you can change. But out of the 4, to find a fair test, out of the 4 only one can be kept as a constant. So this is the end of the chapter for you. I hope you understand this. After this we will do these questions at okay. The next part that we are going to do today, complete as much as we can today, is about the data. So scientific information that you collect in a place or page or in a table is known as the scientific data. Now why like for example, if you have got from 1 to class 1 to class 8, right? Class 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now what you can do is list down how many students in each class have, what is the average height of each student in the class, average height, and you can list it down. In class 1 maybe the students are 50 centimeter, and class 2 also 52 or 54 centimeters, and so on so forth. Fill it up. This will be known as your data, collecting data. Okay, now in the same way tables are formed in this way. Collecting data causes the formation of tables. Okay, so when these data that you have collected all are put into tables, then you can call it a table. Okay, in grid form. Okay, whatever. So here what is given to you? Time, the right time, night time temperature is given to you, and amount of clouds in the night time temperature, and then daytime temperature is given to you, and the amount of clouds at daytime. Okay, so these are the values that are given. For example, if I ask you from this very table, can you tell me what is the lowest temperature at night? So you can see the temperatures. There's one of the temperature is 2 degrees, the other is 0 degree, -1 degree, then you have got 5 degree, and you have got 6 degrees, 7 degree, and 2 degrees. So according to this, the lowest temperature is -1 degree. So therefore you can say that the lowest temperature at night was at 1 degree. And when was the biggest cloud formed? Okay, then you can say that there are many temperatures at which the clouds were present at 2 degrees Celsius, at 9 degrees Celsius, at 6 degrees Celsius, and at 7 degrees Celsius but there were lesser clouds and at degrees 0 and 2, while there was no cloud at -1 degree Celsius. In the same way you can compare the day and night, and when I will say that at what temperature were the clouds less in the daytime than in the night time. Okay, so then you can check all the cloud timing. These are same, these are same, these are same, these are same. So it is only at 2 degrees Celsius that the amount of clouds at night are more than at daytime. So you can say at 2 degrees Celsius, and at 2 degrees Celsius at night the clouds were far more than at 18 degrees Celsius in the morning. So the time temperature can be compared with the cloud amount of clouds that are formed. In the same way, there are different types of charts or graphs that you can make. This is known as the bar graph, where everything is listed in the form of a bar, and you can see that here what they have done is taken the number of students and height of students. Like I was saying, that number of students or the class and the height is found in the data table. Here what they have given to us is the height of the students with the number of students. If in class 1 in one of the class, the height of the student, number of students was 1 and the height of the student was 152, the number of students are 2, the height of the student each is 152, मतलब दोनों की height 152 है, then 153, 154 and so on. They listed it down.